And we're back, folks. Mike Randle here, FTN Chief Content Officer, coming back with the college basketball betting show as always. Please like, please subscribe. We give you the content 3 times a week. The audience is growing. The comments are growing. Everything is going great here in college basketball. Frank Brank's models have just gone live on the site today. Nick Makowitz, Walt Waddell doesn't sleep. Mike Kutri's up over 130 units this year in college basketball. Please join us, like, and subscribe. Last night, very successful night. Hit Kansas there as the favorite. Hit Miami there as a favorite. We continue to fade Duke because the lines are overinflated. But I will warn you that today is a very tricky day. Today, the lines are getting sharper as the year goes on, and we have some very interesting battles. So we're going to be careful how we do our recommendations. We do have our graphic picks at the end, but I want you to listen to what I'm saying about each game because I think it's very close. I think some lines can go either way. And the way I'm going to attack the slate tonight is in a progressive fashion. If I go up early, I'm maybe going to taper off as the night goes on. Last night, we hit our 2 picks right away. I did not bet the Weber State game. In the end, Northern Colorado ran away with it. So I think we have to be careful. I think you have to be sharp. I think you have to pick the spots that you like the best. And again, this is a conversation. Please put the comments in there. We'll go back and forth. I have a lot of games to talk about here, but we do want to be careful because I think these lines are pretty darn good. Let's take a look and see what we can get to. Just a reminder, high water mark. We continue to roll here, up 51.2 units on the season on sides, doing great. Props, 14-5. Haven't done a lot of props lately. Have to get back into that, but I like to pick and choose my spots. Been very successful. And our hot streak, of course, doing very well. 17-8 over the last 25. That's 68% in the FTN bet tracker. Have to be a subscriber, of course, to get into that bet tracker. But we have a lot of great stuff, and we love our Discord conversation back and forth here. First game up, NC State plus 7.5 at Virginia. What I like to do is go through each game and have an instinctual reaction. We're all college basketball junkies. We watch a ton of the games, really enjoy them. First reaction in this game, and you know I love Virginia. I think they're going to win the ACC, even though they just lost to Virginia Tech. You know that. First reaction, this line's too high. That was my gut initial reaction. Looked at the metrics, went back and forth. I still think it's too high. It's 7.5. Now, public betting, if we can look at where that is right now, public betting and action that's going back and forth in this game. Very, very interesting because I want to see where people are wagering. The line really has not moved, which I think is always telling that it's solid right there. Right now, majority of bets and the money is on NC State, but I like them in this matchup, and here's why. I've been slow to warm to NC State, but they've been really solid. Virginia this year has shown the ability to keep some of these games closer than you would think. North Carolina at home, I thought that was a slam spot. Armando Bacot went out of the game early. They won by 7. They covered, but it was very frisky. Florida State away, close game, very close, pulled away late. Virginia Tech at home, lost. Syracuse away, last second. I think it was a cover over a push, one or the other. Boston College hung around. They have not been the type of team against the 3 defensively that you like to see. On the other hand, NC State has continued to impress. NC State has won 8 of their last 9. They're scalding hot. They can make the 3, and they have 2 players that can destroy a game in Jarkel Joyner and Terquavian Smith. Those 2 players can penetrate off the dribble. They can get in the gaps. They can make threes. DJ Burns, the 275-pound guy inside. Casey Morsell, a lot of playmakers on this team. I think the line's too much. I think they keep it close. Do I think they win? No, I do not. But do I think 7.5 is a lot? Yes. What is the line I'd be looking for? 4.5, 5, 7.5, I think is too much. I will take NC State. Virginia plays with pace. If NC State comes out hot early, you know this can be a problem. I think it's too high. I'm going with NC State plus 7.5 over Virginia, even though I like Virginia in the ACC. I get the spot for UConn. We've been through this a million times. Duke coming off the win over North Carolina, going on the road against Miami. I get the situational spot thing. I just think Marquette is that good. And the 4.5 to me is a lot. This game right now, the overwhelming majority of bets and money is on UConn. However, if you go to our FTN odds screen for college basketball, it was 4.5 across the board. It's now coming down to 4. I almost think there's a buyback going on here on Marquette. I understand UConn kept it close with Marquette when they played the first time. I understand UConn has an advantage inside. But Marquette has shown the highest floor of any Big East team this year. They're solid and they're competitive. Do I think Marquette can win this game? Yes, I do. Do I think UConn has turned the corner, is magically ready to run? No, I do not. UConn played Georgetown, and we got that one to the window fairly easily because they covered. UConn has lost 4 of the last 7 games. The teams they have beaten have been the bottom feeder teams in the Big East. Butler home, DePaul away, Georgetown away, didn't cover. Marquette, on the other hand, has been solid and has lost close games when they've lost to the top teams in the Big East. I think it's too many points. I think they're going to rebound well. I think their offense inside is super efficient. So we are going to take the 4.5 with Marquette in this matchup. Close game. Everybody expects a big UConn night, that UConn is back. Their metrics are there. Here comes the statement win. I think 4.5 is a lot. If it was 2.5, I'd probably like to stay away or maybe even consider UConn. 4.5 is too many points in what I think is a coin flip game. Rutgers versus Indiana. I'd like to take you through the last times Rutgers has played Indiana. I'd just like to take you through this and read them to you here so you can see what I'm talking about. Rutgers this year. Rutgers played Indiana, won 63-48 back on Saturday, December 3rd. Last year, Rutgers plays Indiana away, wins 66-63. Rutgers plays Indiana the year before, wins at home 74-63. Rutgers plays Indiana away, wins 74-70. Rutgers plays Indiana at home, 59-50 win. Going back to 2018-2019, Rutgers loses away to Indiana, 89-73. Rutgers is the type of team that matches up with Indiana. You want to argue letdown spot against Purdue? I'm fine with that. But they do shoot well at home. I just think Rutgers defense and the big man Amaruri inside and their perimeter defense are going to be able to keep this game close. Rutgers, to them, they're a cocky group from New Jersey. I get it. They think that they are the best team in the Big Ten. They beat Purdue. They have the second best record in the Big Ten. They think they belong. I think this is a reduction spot from Indiana. I think Steve Peichel and Rutgers match up well with Indiana. And I know the game's at Assembly Hall where they do shoot well, but they're still missing guard Xavier Johnson. Jalen Hood-Schifino needs to continue to play well, and Rutgers has a way of messing this game up, like their defense, like Rutgers, plus 4.5. You know my thoughts on Dayton. Now Malachi Smith is hurt. You may have a couple people out. Blakeney may be out in this game. VCU showed me a lot by winning at St. Louis. They really did. I like VCU in this game. I will admit this line is a little bit high. I would like it better at 2.5, but I like VCU in this matchup. In A10 play, VCU is the number 1 in turnover rate. And this is a Dayton team that struggled with turnovers at home against Loyola Chicago. They have beaten Davidson away by 2. They have beaten St. Louis away. Yes, they did lose to St. Bonaventure, but St. Bonaventure has some quality guards there in the backcourt. So this one, to me, their VCU is going to win this game. And Dayton, we thought they turned the corner when they ran off and beat Fordham. They lost the next game to VCU at home. Then they beat Davidson at home by 7. They lose to George Washington away. They lose to Rhode Island away. Then they beat Richmond at home by 26. Look fantastic. Have to go to overtime against Loyola Chicago. Then lose away to St. Bonaventure. If Dayton was going to get it right, they would have gotten it right before this game. So the idea that Dayton can just step up and they can pound them inside with Holmes, VCU is very athletic. They cause problems. Ace Baldwin is playing at an elite level. I don't buy it. Ace Baldwin against St. Louis, a very solid team with quality guards. 37 points, 4 of 5 from 3, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. They didn't even shoot well from 3-point range, and they still won that game going away. I get it if you believe in Dayton beginning of the year, but I just think there's been a couple times like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football that they were going to turn the corner, and I don't think it's happening here. Is it a lot of points? Yep, it's about 2 points too high in my liking, but I still am going to take VCU in this spot because I think they're the better team. People are worried about Louisville covering this game. All right. You want to be worried? That's fine. Louisville melted down in the second half against Boston College and were worried against Pittsburgh, who has been one of the surprise teams this year. Louisville here, in their battles that they've done, they have just struggled the entire season. And now we're worried about them going on the road against Pittsburgh, who is a very solid team. That's fine. But don't forget, Louisville lost by 10 to Boston College after winning most of that game. Louisville lost by 14 at Notre Dame, who's been non-competitive this year. And when they played Pittsburgh at home, they lost by 19. Now they're going on the road. Pittsburgh is 9-3 in the ACC. They're 16-7. They've beaten Wake at home. They've beaten Miami at home. They went on the road and beat North Carolina. They have Florida State away. That's not a look-ahead spot at all. I am taking Pittsburgh and laying the points. I get it. And people are thinking sleepy spot, but I trust Pittsburgh. I don't trust Louisville, and I know it's a high number. So if you want to stay away, that's fine. I think Pittsburgh wins. It's a high number, but I don't see why Louisville lost by 19 at home. They're playing a good, solid defensive team that does not turn the ball over, and now they're going to keep it close on the road. I'll take Pittsburgh. Still fading North Carolina. North Carolina and Wake Forest are the last two teams on my big board that are in the NCAA tournament. Just updated my big board on FTNBets.com. Wake Forest at home is very tough. UNC can be very streaky. Now, UNC has played well on the road, but let's remember with North Carolina, and we love North Carolina. We're all waiting for North Carolina to get going, aren't we? Yeah, we are. North Carolina this year, 15-8, 7-5 in the ACC. Against quadrant 1 teams, which is what this would be, Wake on the road, 1-7. They have one win. They don't have any bad losses, but with a Wake team at home that needs this game, and they know they need this game because Wake could very easily be out. But Wake has played at home Clemson and beat them by 10, the number 1 team in the ACC right now by record. They beat Duke at home by 11 points. They beat Virginia Tech at home by 2 points. You think they're going to lose to North Carolina? That's fine. I don't. I will take Wake Forest here as a slight underdog. You want to go money line play, that's fine, at home. Texas A&M versus Auburn, again, very tricky here. Payback spot in this situation, but I have had success fading Auburn's offense on the road. With the exception of that miracle comeback against West Virginia where we lost by a half point, their offense has really struggled. They are shooting 28.8% from three-point range. That is 6th worst in the nation. They are shooting 52% from inside the arc, and they're pretty good inside the arc, but Texas A&M is really good at guarding inside the arc. And their free throws, 69% overall, 259th in the country. So you want me to take an Auburn team to cover on the road that doesn't shoot three-pointers well, that doesn't shoot free throws well, and really doesn't force a lot of turnovers. I don't see it. Buzz Williams is going to be frustrated. His Texas A&M Aggies are right back on the bubble again. In fact, right now, I have them out. He needs these wins. They are 8-2 in the SEC. They're doing well. They're 16-7, but they struggle here with quad 1. If you look at their games that they've had this year with quad 1, Texas A&M, they are 2-4 against quad 1 opponents. They are 2-1 against quad 2 opponents, 4-1 against quad 3, and 8-1 against quad 4. Don't forget that Texas A&M had that horrific loss to Wofford at home earlier in the year. So again, Texas A&M has bad losses. I think they get this. I don't think they stumble. I understand that they played earlier this year and they played Auburn earlier this year on the road. So this is possibly a payback spot. They beat them 79-63 comfortably at home. That's an awful lot for a poor offensive team to now come on the road and win. Auburn has a matchup with Alabama on Saturday, February 11th. This Saturday could be a look-ahead spot. Texas A&M doesn't have that luxury. Buzz Williams, disciplined coach. Buzz Williams' defense, very solid. Buzz Williams' defense inside the arc, top 25. Texas A&M -3.5. Yes, I know what you're saying. You're laughing right now. At the other side of this computer, you're laughing. Here are my thoughts. If Terry Roberts, the transfer, their leading scorer, plays in this game, I'm taking Georgia. If Terry Roberts, who has the concussion, is out, I am taking Mississippi. Yes, I am, because I just don't like Mike White, and I don't like Georgia in these spots. I normally would not pick. These are two teams that I hate. I put this on Twitter. I said, I can't believe these two teams are playing. Georgia has lost 5 of their last 6. The fate of Mike White and Georgia continues. Without Terry Roberts, they lost by 25 at Texas A&M. They lost by 21 at Auburn. Now you're bringing in Mississippi. Again, Kermit Davis has struggled. They're only 1-9 in conference. They're 9-14 overall. but they did cover against Vanderbilt. They were competitive against Kentucky at home. They played tough against Tennessee earlier this year, and they did win at South Carolina. So I have more confidence in Mississippi, as frustrating as they can be, than I do have in this spot in Georgia. Last game, Matthew Morrell did play. He played 28 minutes. We hope that he continues to play and he shows up. If Terry Roberts doesn't play, I will take Mississippi. If Terry Roberts plays, then to me, it's a bounce back spot. He makes that big of a difference. The line is very small. So we have to update that one as we get closer. Let's see some comments here. Holiday, need to show more days, Mike. Holiday, appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. We will try to get more as we get closer to March. Remember, what I'm really looking forward to as a pivot point for us here at FTN is in 2 weeks, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, February 18th, they come out with the CBS bracket preview show where they preview the top 4 seeds in each of the brackets. I do a prediction for that. And after that, to me, it's game on here for college basketball, and we amp it up. So I'll try to get it to you more days. Mike, do we trust Imani Bates to carry EMU again? That's the Buffalo game, but we'll get to that, sir. Very good one. Hi, Roland. Appreciate you as always. Thank you, sir. Colby, give me some Air Force money line at home against Colorado State. Ask it, you shall receive, Colby. We'll get to that as well. What's with the San Jose State line, Trevor? We'll get to that one at the last, including that one. Shaka, we trust. Yeah, I trust Shaka. I know this is a really tough spot, and it's a UConn blow-up spot, but how many times have we seen this here, High Roland? How many times have we seen, oh, this is the bounce-back spot, and we've gone against it and been successful? VCU down to 3.5 at some shops. I get it. And listen, you could tell me that Dayton's going to flip the switch and they're ready to go, but my question, Adam, to you is if VCU hasn't flipped the switch yet, if a Dayton hasn't flipped the switch yet, why are they flipping it here at VCU? Especially when VCU lost their last game when they were home to St. Bonaventure. Believing in my Aggies, love it. Yeah, Taylor, I believe in Buzz Williams. Auburn on the road is very shaky. Their offense has really struggled. They're physical. They're aggressive. So is Texas A&M. This is not a contrast in styles. This is not Auburn trying to slow down a fast-paced team. Death, taxes, and fading Mike White. That is exactly right. But if Terry Roberts plays, High Roland, we're going on the other side on that one. Okay, let's keep getting through the games here. You know, Akron's coming off a huge game against Kent State. Okay, so this is sort of my law of efforts here. Toledo wants to light them up in the worst way. If you look at the standings at the top of the Mid-American Conference, you have Akron at 9-1. You have Kent State and Toledo at 8-2. So Akron is coming off the big battle at home. They're 9-1. They've won 8 straight games. Big game at home against Kent State. Here comes Toledo. This is a rivalry. Todd Kowalczyk needs this game. On the other side, you're looking at a 7-game winning streak for Toledo. You're looking at a big offense for Toledo. These teams have battled back and forth. They have not played each other yet. It is asking a lot for the Akron Zips to pound Kent State at home and beat Toledo. That's a lot. If they do that, I'll tip my hat to them. But until I see it, I'm taking the 2.5 with Toledo. Gut instinct on this one. Not one of my top plays. I chose a lot of points. It seemed like a lot of points to me for East Tennessee State, who's been very competitive here in conference. I like UNCG, and I've been on them all year long. But if you look in the Southern Conference with East Tennessee State, they're right in the middle, 5-7, but they've been competitive and they've played well. Mercer away, overtime loss. Chattanooga at home, away, big win. They played Samford away. That was a close game for a while. Samford pulled away at the end. Now they're playing UNCG at home. They have not played UNCG yet. This is a close battle. This is a team that defends the 3 well. It just struck me as a lot of points. I think it actually may be going down a little bit. I like it at 10. I'll take it at 10. If it gets down to 9, 8.5, I think it's a pass for me. Not one of my top plays, but it's a rivalry within conference. UNCG, I'll take East Tennessee State plus the 10. Boy, this is a sharp line, huh? Tulane, who has been scalding hot and is coming off a massive win over Memphis. Earlier in the year, Tulane struggled with those injuries. They were up and down, lose to Nevada, lose to Western Kentucky, lose at home to Fordham, give up 95 points in that game. Then they lost at a neutral to Mason. They did lose at Cincinnati earlier this year, and they've been hot. But look at Tulane. Overtime loss to Tulsa away. Overtime win over Wichita State. Overtime win over Memphis away. A lot of efforts in that one, and a lot of efforts against a Cincinnati team that is playing quality defense under Wes Miller. They are number 1 in the AAC. in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom. They're number 1 in effective field goal percentage allowed. They're number 1 in defensive rebounding, and they're number 1 at 2-point percentage defense. They had a close loss at home to Memphis. They had a close loss away to Houston. They had a big win at home over Tulsa, taking care of business. They had a big win at home over UCF, and they covered for us. Cincinnati, tough defense, going on the road to a Tulane team that can fall in love with the jump shot and like to run. Give me the more physical team in Cincinnati as the slight underdog. Kent State in a bounce-back spot, -14 over Bowling Green. I know this is a rivalry. I know it's a lot of points, so if you want to stay away, I'm fine with that also. I just like Kent State. This is a Kent State team that was competitive at Gonzaga, a Kent State team that was competitive at Houston. That's a bad loss to Akron. They're ticked off. Bounce-back spot at home against Bowling Green. Yes, this could be a 12-point win. Yes, it could be an 8-point win. Kent State's not losing this game, so I'm going to lay the points with 14. You know, you look at Central Michigan and Ball State battles in the past, and they're usually pretty darn close. Central Michigan has upset Ball State a couple times on the road. Ball State's now Central Michigan's at home, and Ball State is going on the road. The thing about Ball State is they are dependent here on their offense, and it can be very, very sensitive. They are shooting 37.9% from three-point range, but they are one of the worst teams at free throw shooting. And again, on the road here, coming off an overtime home win over Eastern Michigan, the Eastern Michigan team that's hot right now, I'll take the 8 points with Central Michigan home. Look at these games in the past. Yes, Central Michigan has not been impressive, but you're dealing with Ball State. They give up a lot of threes. Central Michigan is home. I could easily see this game starting out. If you want to go first half line, Central Michigan comes out scalding hot and just jumps on Ball State like a 16-8 game. Maybe you want to go first half there. I like them getting 8. Momentum play here. You can take Delaware State and put it in the category of IUPUI. You can take Delaware State and put it in the category of Lafayette. That's what I want to do here with Delaware State. And I understand people are laughing at me on social media. You have to have some issues if you're taking a look at this game. That's fair, and maybe I do. But Delaware State, last 4 games, South Carolina State away, they win in overtime. Morgan State home, they win. Coppin State away, they win by 5. Morgan State on a neutral, they lose. Now they're playing Chicago State. They've actually been pretty good lately, Delaware State. They have the number 1 defense in the MEAC inside the arc. Now they're home against Chicago State. Chicago State, an independent, has been playing well lately as well, but I don't think they're playing well enough in order for us to lay 4.5. We got burned by Chicago State this weekend. I get it, but I'm going back to Delaware State because of momentum play for them playing better, getting 4.5. Have not been impressed with Ohio, been fading them recently and going back to the well. We have an Ohio team now that we see in the MAC that is going on the road to Northern Illinois. Have not been impressed with Jeff Bull's Ohio team. They were 3-4. They lost 2 games to Akron and Eastern Michigan away. They came home against Miami of Ohio. That was a close game. Now they're going away to Northern Illinois, who has actually played them well historically. If you look at those games, they can be very close. And Northern Illinois, all they've done is won 5 of their last 6 games. One of the best values I like is these small mid-major conferences with teams with terrible records that are actually hot and playing well. 5 of the last 6 they've won. Now they're home to Ohio, a team that they have not played this year. Rashad Burno's Northern Illinois Huskies team, doing well, shooting well from 3, almost 38%, shooting well from inside the arc, defending the 3 well. They do get beat on the boards, so they're going to have to be cognizant of Dwight Wilson inside, but assuming they can contain him, and he hasn't been great lately, I will take the 5 points at home. This is one of those magic, we talked about it, 5.5 or 5.5 point spreads with a conference team at home. Anybody shocked this one's coming? I get that Murray State has been very good, but Drake has been scalding hot. DeFreeze has come back now. They're playing well. Roman Penn, still a lot of experience from a team that's been very, very successful over the last few years. They've been jumping on teams early. It's 3.5. I expect Murray State to make a run, but I faded them. It's done well for us. I'm taking Drake, and I'm laying the points on the road, 3.5. I'd like it to be 2.5, but it's gone up a little bit. Still fine with it at 3.5. You know, if it gets to the magic 5, we're not touching it. But for 3.5, I will take it. St. John's is very inconsistent. Butler at home can be an absolute pain. Butler at home beat Villanova. Butler at home can play very, very well. I like Butler here in the small number. Thad Matta's team struggled a little bit for a while. They did not have Manny Bates inside, but they just came off a tough game at Marquette where they played well. Butler, Manny Bates came back in that game, did not play great, but the interior defense against Marquette is a lot different than the interior defense of St. John's. They played St. John's earlier this year. It was close, then it got away from them. They did beat Villanova at home. They did play Marquette very tough recently, and it's only 1.5. I would expect the money and bets here to be on St. John's, but we're going to lay Butler. Always tough at Hinkle Fieldhouse, and I don't trust St. John's turning the ball over on the road. Maryland's been hot, but I'm buying Tom Izzo and Michigan State when they need a win. Both teams need this win badly. I'm not backing Kevin Willard. I haven't done it all year. They have played well lately, but they've also been very disappointing in some big spots. They can struggle to score. This game is going to be a slower game, but 2.5 is a number I like. If it gets up to 4.5, I am not taking it. Not one of my top plays, but I'm going to back Izzo over Willard every single time. Michigan State -2.5 against a Maryland team that can struggle to score. They're good defensively, but they can struggle to score, and Michigan State usually can play well, especially at home. What I've been really impressed with Michigan State lately is I think the missing ingredient for them, almost similar to Tennessee, has been having a solid point guard, and Tyson Walker has been absolutely fantastic. Yes, they lost the away game to Purdue. Yes, they lost the MSG game to Rutgers, but they still beat Iowa at home. They still beat Rutgers at home handily. They still almost beat Purdue at home when Malik Hall was not there. Impressive game. Maryland here. I'm going to take Michigan State and lay the small number. Kansas State with TCU. No Mike Miles. Mike Miles is going to be back on Saturday, I think. So no Mike Miles. Eddie Lampkin, not sure. Is he going to be healthy? Kansas State needs this win. Massive collapse against Texas. We saw Iowa State with a big bounce back. Kansas State with a bounce back here. I think they rally. I think they get the job done against TCU. Miles looking to return this weekend. I believe that's against Baylor, I think. I think that's the game they're looking to target him come back. I just don't think they're going to get it here. TCU beat Kansas State at home by 14, so it's a payback spot. TCU lost Miles against Mississippi State. They lost in overtime. Big win. It was a close win, but big win over West Virginia. Did cover that one by 0.5, and then lost to Oklahoma State. They were down big, and they came back. Now they go to the Octagon of Doom with a team, as TCU doesn't shoot well, needs to play solid defense. In the last game, they had no Lampkin. They had no Mike Miles. It's a big ask here against a Kansas State team that needs this game badly. Remember, Kansas State, who's been hot, they were on my one line for a while, have lost 3 of the last 4 games, away at Iowa State, away at Kansas, home to Texas, big fallback. They have to come back and win this game, and I think they get it. I don't see Arkansas keeping this one close. As much as Musselman's been fantastic, as much as Arkansas has been super competitive, they're still doing it out with their 2 players. You need a big game from Ricky Council, but Sheboy should go nuts inside and have his way. Kentucky's been playing well. I'd watch the status of Kason Wallace. I want him back. If he's back, it's a slam for me. If it's not, it's still pretty good, but not as strong. Give me a healthy Kentucky here. If Wallace plays and this team's ready to go, I will take them over Arkansas. As much as I know Muss will keep this one close, I just think there's just not enough depth on Arkansas to win a game at Kentucky. Yeah, I like Air Force against Colorado State. In fact, there are some key players here for Colorado State who are out. So if you look at the update, I'll pull it up here right now. There are some players who are out for Colorado State, which is going to be a major problem. And I think their depth is why they have really struggled lately and had some challenges. So for Colorado State, Jalen Lake and Tavi Jackson remain out. Jalen Lake has the concussion. Tavi Jackson has an illness. They're both out. So again, the Rams are only going to have 7 scholarship players. I've been impressed with how Air Force has played. They played very well on the road here against New Mexico. That was a game I stayed up and watched. They have lost 5 in a row, but they've been very competitive. On the other hand, Colorado State has lost 5 in a row. They've lost 6 of their last 7. They've lost 9 of their last 11. Colorado State going the wrong way. Love Nico Medved, love the Rams, but only 7 scholarship players on the road here against Air Force. They played at home. They lost by 9 in overtime. Hard to get around a payback spot when you're so shorthanded. I'll take Air Force. South Carolina is horrific. 15.5 is a lot of points with a Missouri team that we're seeing some regression from 3-point range. Again, not one of my top plays. I just don't think South Carolina is winning on the road. They've been so up and down. I'll take Missouri. Not one of my top plays. Again, I'll see how the early night will go. I'd like this better at 10 or 11. 15 is a lot, but not enough to make me take South Carolina. St. Louis in a bounce back spot against Rhode Island. Rhode Island can battle you up front, but St. Louis needs this game. They were very disappointing against VCU, the way they crumbled. Yuri Collins, Okuru's got to stay out of foul trouble. I believe in the Billikens. I think they're going to be heard from before the season's over. I think they can win the A10 tournament. I really do. They need to bounce back here and show me something. They should be angry after that VCU loss. I think they take it out on Rhode Island tonight. The Fresno-San Jose State game is very, very odd. I'm going with Fresno here. Fresno, the last few games, lost at Boise State. No shame in that. Utah State at home. Utah State can be scalding hot from 3. That's a weakness. Wyoming away. But they did bounce back with a nice win against UNLV, and they got some players healthy. San Jose State away this year. Here are their results in conference. First off, going back to before conference started, they lost to Pittsburgh Pacific away. Terrible loss. Colorado State away, they actually won. But since then, Boise State away, lost. New Mexico State away, lost by 20. Utah State away, kept it close, lost. San Diego State away, lost by 21. These games, typically, Fresno does have the upper hand. It's a low enough line. San Jose State can keep it close, but I think Fresno at home here gets the advantage, and the line is low enough that even though it projects as a back-and-forth game, give me Fresno to pull ahead with about 4 minutes left and win this game by about 6 or 7. And finally, I think New Mexico minus 4.5. Remember that incredible game against Nevada on the road there. Went to overtime. They lost that. I believe in the pit. I don't like the defense here for Nevada. I believe New Mexico at home is going to get hot. That was a tough, tough loss for New Mexico when they went and they played earlier this year against Nevada, 97-94 in 2 overtimes. Now Nevada has to go on the road. Nevada has not been great on the road. Lost to Boise by 15, lost to San Diego State by 9, lost to UNLV by 6. Now they're going to one of the toughest places to play. And New Mexico, the one thing you know about them is Jamal Mashburn Jr. is going to hit those shots. Mars Udesi's been great inside. Jalen House attacks the basket. Hopefully Donovan Dent is back and he's healthy. So I will lay this small number as well. A couple comments, and then we will get to the graphic picks and get you out of here, folks. Appreciate it. We got Matt here. Where do we see Marquette the next few weeks? Matt, I like Marquette. I think Marquette is not getting enough love nationally because no one knows their players. They're very lunch pail, but these are the teams that Shaka is successful for. I like this Marquette team. They can absolutely win the Big East, and no one is talking about them. They're all worried about Creighton. They're still hanging on to UConn. They're talking about Xavier, who now doesn't have Zach Fremantle. Look at Marquette, who is 11-2, 19-5 overall. Look at their schedule going forward. At Connecticut, they get this one, watch out. Georgetown away certainly should be a win. Xavier at home without Fremantle should be a win. Creighton away, that's the apocalyptic game. After that, DePaul home, Butler away, St. John's home. They absolutely could win this Big East. I think Shaka Smart and this team is a sleeper Final Four team, and no one is talking about it. Aaron Pauling, Marquette was 16-6 against the spread as of January 30th. Yeah, they've been fantastic. And I know that they struggle, but they just don't have, Aaron, the top level players that people want to talk about and buy into. But Shaka has been successful. Their defense is up and down metrically, but they're so efficient on offense, and they always give a great effort, especially at home. This is an awesome slate of games. Very excited for tonight. Thank you, Hiron. Let's see if we can get to the window. Be careful, though. These are some tricky, tricky lines. Here we go. Let's get to our plays, and then we will get you out of here. The graphic plays by our guy Fox. Appreciate him very, very much. Here we go. Drake minus 3.5 versus Murray State. Don't trust Murray State. You see Roman Penn right there. I think this Drake team is starting to get rolling. I think they have unfinished business in the NCAA tournament. I think they have experience. I think Murray State is very young and still working on Prom's system. They turn the ball over. They can have spurts where they don't score. Give me Drake, the consistent team on the road. I think 7.5 is too much. It's very hard for Virginia to blow out teams. They'd have to be superior. I think NC State is up for the challenge. They have played Virginia very well. If you look at the last 5 games, I think it's like 3-2 or 2-3. But NC State usually hanging around and covering. We'll take them. Only 7 scholarship players for Colorado State, so we'll take Air Force -1 here at home. Yes, I think Colorado State, if they were healthy, could get payback. I don't think that's happening here. Don't trust Ohio. I'll take Northern Illinois at home. This line may have actually gone up here, but Ohio on the road, unless the big man inside for Ohio has a massive game, I like Northern Illinois, possibly even on the money line. Rutgers +4.5 against Indiana. Rutgers has dominated Indiana. Indiana knows that, but they're coming off a massive win over Purdue. I think Edey gets limited inside. I think Peichel knows how to defend him, and this Rutgers team has the swag to win on the road. And you're asking Akron to get up and beat Kent State and Toledo back-to-back. I do not see it. We are taking them there. Folks, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, please. Thank you for supporting us here at FTN. College basketball picks, Mike Randle at Randle Rant. We continue to bring you the content, challenging slated games, folks, but hopefully we can get to the window tonight. Thank you as always. We'll be back again tomorrow. And don't forget about our Saturday slate. That's the one with the coffee and the crumb cake.